worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more again. All right, man. Beautiful day yet again, right? I got out early today. Actually, I've been out. I've been out. And I've been, enjoying the beauty, not just of the day, right? And a great guy's expression, New Earth, but of the new season I'm in my life and the new season we move into collectively and our planet's collective ascension. Man, it's beautiful. Um, but then I got to thinking, about family and a few other things I needed to kick around, right? And I got to thinking about my father, Charles F. Anderson Sr., right? Uh, Son of Charles S., right? S is in super. Charles S. Anderson, my grandfather. Man. And then I got to thinking about my pops, who unfortunately got to see 43 years on this planet. Now, folks, I understand and know there are plenty of people that die a lot earlier, right? That leave this planet a lot earlier, this plane of existence. And it's all for a reason, right? And doesn't necessarily take away uh, the circumstances, right? Whether they be completely natural, completely concurrent or in line with natural order, or if we're talking about a situation where something has interceded to cause the ending of life. As with my father, now they say uh, that the man was very ill and had this and had that. But I lived with him and knew the man, and of course, my father, I watched him, right? As a son, you sort of you watch your father, right? Because you're growing as a man, and your father almost provides that image of what you'll be at different stages of life, at least partially, right? Or to some degree. And I watched my father, and my father was a strong, healthy man, right? Then all of a sudden, now don't get me wrong, Pops turned up the bottle, right? Pops smoked squares, but he stopped smoking eventually. He went to his pipe and didn't smoke that nearly all that often. Uh, and eventually stopped drinking, in efforts to salvage his health. But then the doctors come in. Now, hey, I'm telling the story, right? This is not a referendum or any trying to get opinions or sway opinions on the medical field. I'm telling the story what happened in my life, right? Giving you my opinion on things. So then in come the doctors, right? And next thing you know, of course, what ensues is a litany of medical problems, an entire list of it's this and it's that, and it's this and it's that, and it's this and it's that. So we were told. Notice how they tell you that first, and then comes all the stuff, right? Or you get a little something wrong with you, or feel a twinge here or a pain there, and you suspect that something's wrong, and then they come and hit you with the list. Now, folks, what I understand now that I didn't understand then is that that's all purposeful, right? They tell you these things. Now, again, this is my opinion only. Form your own, right? But they tell you these things, in my opinion, to elicit fear, and not just general fear of your failing health, but to hammer in to cause you to cognize your own physical demise, right? For you to cognize the failing of your physical vessel, right? And they've even given you a specific cause, right? For you to truly focus your energy on and bring into fruition. Hmm. Folks, I remember when they told when they did diagnose my father with lung cancer and told him, you have 6 months to live. I was right there. It was me, him, and my mother in the doctor's office, right? Uh, and 6 months to the day, just about, man died. Huh? Now, with all the variables, all the wild cards that we know exist in physiology and even in the behavior of any pathogen, right? It should be nearly impossible to pinpoint with that degree of accuracy when someone is going to pass from a specific ailment, right? Now, of course, there's studies, and you know, we've seen generally in this that individuals between this and whatever this demographic or this group and this severity of the ill, this is what we've seen. So they can show you patterns and have things that they can rely on pattern wise, right? And studies wise in order to give you their opinion. But anyone who understands, right, just the yeoman's understanding of physiology, right, and the pathology of diseases, right? You understand that again, for the prediction of 6 months for my father's death to be so shockingly accurate, right? It's not just uncanny, it's enough to raise an eyebrow, right? So, and doing my research through the years, I've learned that it's actually not necessarily the effects of the pathogen or the disease or ailment, whatever you've been diagnosed with having, what actually is allowing them such accuracy in predicting one's demise, right? Again, my father dying a young man, 43 years old. Folks, I'm about to turn 50, right? And about to see 7 more years of life my father never got to see again. I tell you that it went almost from day and night. A healthy, strong man, right? To a man who suffered, let's say that, a great deal. By the time my father died, in pain, in constant pain, uh, Man, he went from standing a proud 6'1" to a humbled over, you know, probably 5'9" or whatever, or 5'8", whatever he could erect himself to be. 200 something pound man down to smaller than me at the time as his 12-year-old son, right? Or at least close to that. One that I remember my father telling me that one of the only sources or only ways that he was comforted from his pain was when I went in and gave him a little back rub. You know, he would talk to me. And we became incredibly close, right? Uh, and shortly after that, I lost my best friend. But not just shortly after that, shockingly, accurately, right when the doctors predicted. So again, through my research through the years, I've come to find out that it's not that they can so accurately predict the pathology of any disease or any ailment. It's more so that they can predict when the prescribed medications, right? When the chemotherapy, when the cocktail, the mixture of the smorgasbord, right? Of quote unquote chemical solutions, none of which eased his pain at all, right? In fact, he got worse. None of which caused his health to improve at all, just got worse. But what it did do was keep him right on target to die when they predicted. Why? Because they know exactly through design and experimentation, through specificity. I said that incorrectly. It's early, folks. Um, exactly what the results of their medications and their regiment of chemical solutions, they know exactly how long it would take for that to destroy a human body. Of course they do. They get to experiment and control settings. They get to control all the variables. That's an environment where you can be exact. That's a system with controls applied that allow you to be precise in predicting the results, right? Folks, what we've got to do is truly take a hard and honest look at our medical system, where there have been doctors that have stepped up courageously and told the truth. Listen, it's not designed to make you better. It's not designed to give you this system. The medical system is not designed to bring cures. It's designed for treatments that cost money. and for you to keep coming back, getting your treatment, unless your treatment becomes fatal. Hmm? We need to take an honest approach and a look at that, and it's time to change that. In fact, medicine has gone down a road where many of you folks know this. You go in the emergency room and you leave out, they really never told you what was wrong with you. But you got a couple of scripts. You got a couple of prescriptions. Well, we don't exactly know what's wrong, but here, take this. Take this. We know what this will do. Folks, we've got to re examine this. We've got to restructure our medical community, our medical, no, not our medical community, the institution of medicine as it plays out in our lives. This has all got to be rethought, reorganized, and reconstructed, right? So that we get back to, so that we advance to healing, right? That we make the focus truly about healing, that we bring the compassion factor back into it. Dare I say that there be a little, just a tad bit of unconditional love. Now, folks, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of good hearted, wonderful, heroic, well intended people in the quote unquote medical industry. There are also some cold and calculated ones who are truly more invested in the industry side of it than the medicine side. I don't blame or fault any individual, group of individuals, or even organization. Remember, this is the growing up time as we reshape our paradigm. As we take a look through, sort of how I did in my first book, Peace, Love, Respect. This is the new way. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. Go get it on Amazon, or if you bump into me, hey, Big King, I need a copy of that. All right. But similar to the way that I did in my book, we've got to go through each and every institution that affects our everyday lives, right? Certainly, the institution of medicine is a big one. It's time to take a look at it honestly, right? Without any hue of bias, right? With good intentions, with compassionate intentions. And we've got to honestly move forward with a revamping, a restructuring, a truly impactful change to what we have identified, what we call our medical institution, right? Or the institution of medicine. Folks, we have incredible medical capabilities now. We know so much more about ourselves and our physiology than what we did years ago, right? We're only going to continue to further in that regard. But unless we're applying compassion, unless the foundation of the entire institution of medicine is built on true unconditional love, one human being to another, unless we do that, we're only going to continue to go down this misguided, ineffective in terms of healing, often destructive paradigm that has truly twisted the medical industry in that regard, right? Um, We have got to move forward with responsibility to the health and well-being of of every individual who places their trust in that healer, right? Or that place of healing that they've come to for aid. It's got to look different, folks. It's got to look different. As I said earlier, started to touch on, there have been doctors who have stepped up and admitted, listen, the way it's constructed right now, it's basically about pushing pills, right? Folks, they have vast and elaborate charts. It's gotten to be now where they're just playing multiple choice. Well, you see this set of signs or symptoms equals this ailment, right? Or this group of ailments, or this substance. Now, of course, it's a lot more sophisticated than that in terms of the language and uh, the detail that's put into structuring the whole system and the the language of it, right? But if you take a look at it, that's essentially what it is. That's what they're practicing, and at least that's what they're giving to us, right? Oh, well, you feel this, you complain of this, that, and that. You know, book says it's this, or likely something in this range or this group of diagnoses, and here's the pharmaceutical solution that we offer up for that. We have got to get the pharmaceutical industry out of medicine, right? We've got to take the power and enormity out of the pharmaceutical industry. We have got to immediately remove the ability of these companies to essentially set whatever price they want on medications that they have so cleverly addicted masses of people in this country to, right? Um, we have got to remove the power that they hold over doctors. Folks, in at least one state, and I believe it was California, if I'm not mistaken, doctors have been threatened by the American Medical Association to have their licenses pulled if they speak out against certain protocols set forth in response to the quote unquote pandemic. That's just wrong. That's obviously wrong. These are the folks whose opinions we should be listening the most. Soliciting the most. We should be asking and trusting in their guidance to steer us forward, not pharmaceutical companies, not talking heads in government who are actually receiving money from the pharmaceutical companies. But these are the people like Dr. Fauci before moving out of his illustrious position, who literally received millions and millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry, and then get on TV. And what do you think he's going to recommend as the path forward to deal with and to respond to such a powerful and tragic threat to public health? Right? What do you think he would recommend? He's going to go back and recommend whatever's being offered up by the folks whose pockets he's in, the pharmaceutical industry. And there's far too much of that going on. That's just one individual, right? Again, my opinion, folks. All of it, this whole video, my opinion. Do your own research. See what opinion you come up with. Huh? Talk to doctors on your own whenever you have an opportunity. You know, pull them to the side. They're people too. They have family. They care about what happens on this planet. Oftentimes, they'll be honest with you. I've done that, and I've had doctors personally agree with much of this. Now, that I don't have to be so careful about. My personal conversation with them, pulled to the side, has checked the boxes and shown that they agree with much of what I'm saying. So I'm going to advise you to do the same thing, right? To truly take a look into how you want to go forward with maintaining the health of yourself and your family. And then collectively, we've got to take a strong look on how we're going to move forward with what we call the institution of medicine. I know I'm not stopping. For my father, I look up because that's what we typically do, even though I know, hand on my shoulder right there, right? And we need to all do this for our loved ones going forward. We have the opportunity, folks, with the advancements that we're making every moment and all that we're learning to do so much good in that arena. Let's get our motivations back in order. Let's truly put faith back into those people, because there are people who their calling is healing, huh? And some of those truly good-hearted people are in the medical industry, but they're often the voices that mainstream media, of course, controlled by Blackstone and BlackRock, I forget the name of the company, and well, we won't get into that, another video. But under centralized control, what mainstream media does is essentially drown out those voices, or find ways to shut them up, right? Folks, that's the effort. But that's going to fail too, because we are collectively, I remind you, all moving forward, right? We are all moving into higher states of consciousness and will continue to do so. And as we do so, it will only become that much more illuminated and that much more clear to us that there is a better way, a better path for us to go forward with the Institute of Medicine, and indeed every institution that touches our everyday lives, that we can go forward with better motivations, that we can remove the linear 3D, 4D control systems that have been put in place by the socially economic elite to cause those institutions to function in the way that they do today. And we can replace those systems with cyclical systems designed with compassion and designed with an intent to make things better for the masses, right? We've got to bring the compassion factor back in, folks. We have to, and we will, and we're starting to. So let's continue forward. Let's continue forward in that direction. For all those who have passed and for all those who are depending on us and on the collective wisdom to demand and to make the conditions and the environment right for us to truly structure for ourselves, right? Or to restructure the institution of medicine that it truly and compassionately serves us all. All right. I love you all. Worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell a friend. Tell everybody you know. Tell some folks you don't know. Click your notification button and let's continue to build the worldwide movement. Peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq.